Hello. Today I'm going to talk about buttonholes, and as you can see I have been working on making this buttonhole and trying to make it look neat, which is incredibly difficult. And I guess you can say that's true about most buttonholes. They're never exactly neat and tidy. But I'll show you what I do to try and get this to be as neat as possible. Now there are a variety of ways to make buttonholes, and this would be a 2-row buttonhole, or sometimes it's described as 2 lips because it looks like, 2 lips. I'm a buttonhole. So this is how it goes. Knit up to the point where you want the buttonhole. So I'm going to knit in 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bring the yarn forward as if to purl. Slip the next stitch over purlwise. Take the yarn back, and at this point you can drop the yarn for the time being. Slip the next stitch and bind that stitch off. This is 1 bound off stitch. I want 4 stitches bound off, so I'll repeat that. 2, 3, 4. Okay, now this resulting stitch is going to go on my left needle, and I'll forget about it for now. Now over here is where it gets a little tricky, and this is where I deviate from the standard instructions, so I'll try to describe as best I can what I'm doing. Here's the strand from where I wrapped earlier when I brought the yarn forward. See, if I pull on it, it comes pretty loose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go underneath that strand and underneath this other strand here. That is actually that first stitch I had, the first stitch I slipped that got bound off. Okay, so I'm going to go underneath that strand and then into that stitch there. And I'm going to pull on them fairly vigorously to put them both back onto the left needle. And I'm going to go ahead and pull up a stitch. There's my stitch. Now I'm going to turn my work around. And what I've got here, you can see what looks like 2 purls. So I'm going to take the bottommost one and put it up on the needle. And I'm going to go into this stitch and pull up another loop. This is like a cable cast on, but I'm actually wrapping in front and pulling back as if I was going to purl. And I'll stick that stitch back on my left needle, and I'll do the same thing again. And as if to purl, go over, purl back onto the left needle. That is my 3rd stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to put on here 1 more stitch than I cast off earlier. So earlier I cast off 4, now I should have 5, not including the first one I slipped up, which is here. You can see this is where the yarn, that's just a stitch that I pulled up earlier. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, now I'm going to turn back around again, and I'm going to take the last stitch I cast on and slip it onto my left needle and knit it together with the first stitch on the left needle. Oops. Knit it together, pull on that pretty tight, and then knit across the row. Okay. Turn around to purl back. Actually, I had a selvage going on there, so let me just continue that. Okay, so knit that first stitch, which is a selvage stitch, and then purl across to my buttonhole, and I should be there in just another couple of stitches. Okay, here's my the beginning of my buttonhole, and I can see where I've got this tightness there, which I pulled pretty tight earlier. So go ahead and purl across those buttonhole stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now here I have 2 stitches where I had picked up and pulled up and cast into earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and purl 1, put it back onto the left needle, pick up that stitch that had just been slipped, the very first one, pull it over the stitch I just purled and slipped onto the left needle, and then slip it back onto my right needle, and then purl to the end. And forgot my selvage stitch again. Okay, now when I turn it around, here is my buttonhole. And the whole purpose of slipping stitches and knitting stuff together on the buttonhole is so that the corners are tight. We want the corners to be as tight as possible, and we don't want the buttonhole to gape. We want it to remain as closed as possible when it's not doing its job of holding a button. So that is my variation of the tulip buttonhole. Thanks for watching.